What's going on, everybody? Welcome into Neverlag. Welcome in, gentlemen. Man who fell in the pit and Cal Storm blessed. We rejoin. What's the word I was looking for? It's gone. We rejoin. We re-adjourn.
Convene.
No. How do you unadjourn? Can you unadjourn something?
We re-unadjourned.
We re-unadjourn. It's a great start. We're back. We're going to talk about games for, let me look, March, right? March.
Coming in a little late.
It's definitely still March. Don't worry about it. Don't check the timestamps, the dates. We're going to talk about games for March and whatever else. So what's new? How you guys been doing?
Pretty good. I'm going to have to try and remember all the way back to March, even though...
Yeah, it's been a couple days.
Yeah, even though in this made-up scenario, it's recent. We'll see what I remember. Ago. Yeah, doing good. Just pre-ordered my Switch 2. Wait, that's the future. Can't say that.
That's amazing. You must know your
got
uncle
it
works
real
at Nintendo.
Early.
Yeah, exactly.
My uncle works at Nintendo.
My Uncle Bowser. Don't worry about it.
Uncle Bowser.
Not Doug Bowser. It's a low level.
I love how when that happened, we were all like, "Oh, that's funny. Bowser runs Nintendo," and then now we're like, "Oh my god,
man,
it's not a joke. It's not a joke anymore."
Yeah, stealing the figurative princess, the princess being
Calvin. You'll find this out as our number one fan later on. But I also pre-ordered a Switch. I had the most casual pre-order of a Switch in the history of the universe.
I was on for like an hour and a half struggling to get one. And then he was like, yeah, I logged in 45 minutes late. Best Buy served it up on a platter. Best Buy was like, would you like a water bottle?
I wanted a couple, and I was like, no, I just want the one. Thanks, Best Buy.
Wow.
No, really, you know how Zach messaged us that night? It was like 10:30, 10:40, and I was like, oh,
I had
shoot,
orders
that's
getting
today?
canceled.
I was like, I didn't know that the pre-orders were happening today. I didn't really check. And he's like, oh, I might have gotten 2. And I was like, you're not going to get 2. That's not going to happen. So I was like, all right, let me open up the old Best Buy app. Let me dust it off. And it was like, you need to update. And I was like, oh, of course I do. So I updated Best Buy, and then I opened it up, clicked on Switch 2, put me in a loading room for like 20 to 30 minutes while I watched hockey or did something else. And then eventually it just opened up to the Switch shopping cart, and I clicked my right address and ordered it, and was like, huh, they must have fixed it. That must have been really easy for everybody. That was really easy. And then I woke up the next day, and it was like, Switch 2 pre-orders are chaos. Everything's broken. Everything's on fire.
Yeah, I was up for like 2 hours with all my monitors, kind of like in the Dark Knight, where it's a wall of computer screens, like standing in the dark, like trying to
hands behind his back. He's in a trench coat,
trying to triangulate like radio frequencies and like capture everyone's data so that I can get my Switch. And you're just like,
drop my phone and it pre-orders it. Yeah,
Best Buy just texted you. It was like, hey, this is Best Buy. We're gonna just give you one.
We know that you've been such a long time member.
We know you weren't even ready to order one, but here's one for you anyways.
Yeah. So anyways, hilarious. And I wasn't even like, I never formally made the decision to not or to buy a Switch, but I was like, if I don't, I definitely probably won't get one. If I pre-order one now, I can decide to cancel it or whatever, and we'll go from there. We were talking on the other thing about how console prices keep going up, so it's like, well, maybe I should get it now because
little bit of a glimpse into how it used to be to get a new console back in the old days.
Back in the, what do you mean? Back in the old days, we were waiting in line. We were talking about the glory days where you would actually talk to people and hang out outside of GameStop or whatever. So
yeah,
this whole internet era sucks. It was way easier. Man, the PS5 was a nightmare though. I hated those days. That was such a nightmare getting a PS5.
I had this, honestly, for me, it was the same experience as the PS5, literally.
I don't know, but you got one though. The PS5 days where
I got a PS,
and then you would do it again, and then you'd have to do it again, and then you'd wait 2 weeks for another drop, and you'd do it again. Like, oh.
But I got a PS5 day one. I know, like a lot of people ran into that issue.
I guess maybe that was just us trying to get one for you.
Yeah, because you guys got yours day one, but I didn't get mine for like a couple months.
Anyways, it's March, so none of this is
2025.
None of this is canon. So where do you guys want to start? I know Zach, you said you don't have much. Calvin, you don't have much. I've got games to talk about.
Yeah, two of my main games to talk about are games that I played with you, co-op games. So we'll discuss those together.
Well, let's
And
get
then I
Zach's out of the way so he can sit there awkwardly and not talk for an
And
hour.
I can just listen. I can go to sleep. I'll lay back.
No, that was totally a
Um,
joke. If you want to wait, or you can jump in. I don't care.
I don't. Yeah, I don't care either. I'll just say,
Um,
like, maybe I should just go first and get it out of the way. I don't know.
yeah, I know. I mean, well, you know, no. Let's start. Let's start with Split Fiction because that's kind of the game of
okay.
March. I think didn't
All
that
right,
come out
Okay.
yeah,
like first thing in March?
I never
Um,
even played it.
probably. I don't
that's
remember.
wild, dude. You really should have jumped in. You did buy it though, right?
No, not
Oh,
yet.
you
You
didn't even
didn't
I
buy
even
it.
buy
will.
it? Oh wow.
We just didn't have time
That's
because I need
that's
Brandy to play that
crazy.
too. We did not have enough time in March.
Hey.
That's
So
crazy. All right, we
yeah,
jumped in. Me and Calvin played it. It took two, and it was us two.
it
So
took two, and you did.
that's the platinum trophy. I saw that the other day.
It
It's
took
called
two.
It
That's
Took Two.
funny.
I was like, oh,
That's
that's
Yeah.
that's
clever.
clever.
I get it. I get it.
That's
I
clever.
understand that
Um,
reference.
I understand now. It's good. It's a good game. Calvin, what are your? You want to lead off with some thoughts?
I guess broad strokes. I really enjoyed it. We talked about it as we were playing it. I think comparing because it's such a natural comparison to It Takes Two. Comparing both games, I think It Takes Two was a more even game across the board. Um, it was just a much more even experience, whereas Split Fiction had, I think, some better moments and some higher highs than anything in It Takes Two, but it was more uneven and it had moments that I didn't love as much. And so that's
Yeah,
my
interesting.
quick synopsis.
Yeah, I was curious if anything. I mean, we've had a little bit more time to sit on it and reflect, but my thoughts are pretty much the same as when we played it. I had an absolute blast. I mean, these guys have basically re-pioneered or pioneered the couch co-op
Yeah.
game. They've reinvented it, that's for sure, in the
Yeah.
modern era, in a way that no one else is doing and no one else has come close. And I don't want them to stop. I want them to keep
Yeah.
doing this. But as you said, it's inevitable to compare them. But the whole time we played it, we were just like
Yeah.
grinning from
Big
ear
big
to
smile
ear,
on my
just
face.
like giggles, just like this is amazing, manly giggles, of course. But
Mm-hmm.
just it's joy. It's just joy in a video game package. So you can't take that away from it. But comparing it a little bit to It Takes Two, I do think, and I was surprised to feel this way because I didn't love the characters in It Takes Two. They were a little little grating at times, and I don't know. But I was surprised to reflect on my time with It Takes Two, and I actually think I liked It Takes Two better than this game, which is kind of shocking because this is fantasy and sci-fi colliding and going back and forth. Now, obviously, that all this to say they're both like 9 out of 10 games, or even
Yeah.
10 out of 10 if
Yeah.
you're focusing in the zone of like just couch
It's
co-op games.
it's
You're splitting hairs.
getting into nitpick territory for sure.
Yeah. But just worth noting, I do think I did
Yeah.
like It Takes Two more. But this game, grinning from your ear to ear, just having a blast, really cool mechanics. They just nail the fact that you enter a chapter and you both have two different characters that control differently and do something different, but you have to work together to accomplish the level. And it just is a formula that it just works. Like it's so good. It's so magical. Some chapters were better than others, but just so much imagination put into this game, and really some really cool moments. A lot of people have talked about the end of this, and we won't go into
Mm-hmm.
detail because Zach hasn't played it. But we'll have to, once you do, we can do a brief, come back to your thoughts and talk spoilers at the end. But they do some really really cool stuff. Not only just like an imagination standpoint, but from a technical standpoint with this co-op split screen idea, and it just kind of it's a little brain melting at the end, and it just
Yeah.
gets really really cool. The characters, I enjoyed the two girls that become friends throughout this process. I liked their banter and their story, even though if it was a little um I don't know, maybe not the deepest writing at points. I enjoyed their characters enough.
I was
And
a little bit surprised with kind of the climax of each of their personal stories hit pretty
yeah
well.
yeah
They pulled that off really well.
And I'd heard a lot of people really critiquing the story and saying, "Oh, it's not good, but it's not what you're here for." And I wouldn't say it wasn't good. I enjoyed and relatively cared about both of these characters, and
Yeah.
enough to be invested throughout the
Yeah.
gameplay. So,
Absolutely.
I do think that technically this game is actually, I think it's a lot like you described, Calvin. Technically speaking, it has high highs and a couple low lows, whereas I could be misremembering, but I feel like It Takes Two just was very consistent,
Yeah.
especially
And
even performance wise. This game, there were a couple levels where I was like, "Ooh, that resolution's really cranking down to keep up," or
and
things like
I
that.
think my memory of It Takes Two is pretty good because I played it twice all the way through because I played it with two different people. So
Yeah.
I think my memories on it is pretty good.
So we had a blast with it. I'm trying to think of anything else to call out. I think it was a good length. The fact that these guys are putting out a $50 top of the like high quality game that just you can tell they put a lot of heart and love into this game, just like It Takes Two. It's $50 and you can play it with a friend for free. Like it's
Yeah.
About how
$25 a
long?
person to play
About
this
how
game.
long is it to get through?
I'd say 8 to 10 hours,
Okay. Yeah.
eight
Yeah.
to
Any
12. We haven't
any
gone through and done the cleanup and the trophies and all that. There's a
yeah.
lot more for us to play, but we got swept up in some other stuff, and April was a busy month. So,
Mm-hmm.
but it felt right. I feel like there was the appropriate amount of chapters, and then there was kind of a one more half a chapter at the end that kind of culminates everything together, and it felt like the right length. I think.
Nice.
Yeah. But yeah, any like we're kind of touching on any critiques or anything we have. At the end of the day, all I want is for these guys to keep doing the same thing and keep
Yeah,
making these games because they're so good.
Joseph Ferris is he's so stinking cool. Like he's just one of those guys in the industry that you're like, just protect this man because he's always out there being like, oh, he has more language, colorful language, but just like screw microtransactions and they change the way you make a game and we're never going to be doing live service stuff and blah blah blah. And they came out of this game too. In one of his interviews, he was like, yeah, we're really enjoying the reception to this. It's selling really well. We're really trying to soak it in. But, the team and I are looking at this game thinking, man, we can do so much better. Like we can still do so much better. And that's just kind of like their vibe over there. And I think they can. I look
Yeah,
forward to them
that's
trying to do
cool.
better than this because these two games stand alone atop, a pretty neglected genre.
Yeah,
And they're not just the best because it's a neglected genre. They're the best
They're
even
very
if this
good.
were an oversaturated genre. So
Yeah.
um, I'm curious to see where it lands at the end of the year because again, I don't feel like this game is going to stick with me the way It Takes Two did because It Takes Two was the first experience of this type of game.
yeah,
And now
Totally.
with Split
Yeah.
Fiction, we know what to expect. And even though it's amazing and it surpasses It Takes Two in several ways, it's that Tears of the Kingdom, Breath of the Wild, Ragnarok, 2018 God of War. It's that effect. And
Yeah. Where you're like,
also
I can tell this is
20,
maybe better, but
yeah.
will it stick
it's
with me
not
in the
blowing my
same way?
mind.
And that
Yeah.
was 2020, which
2020,
I think
2021 was It Takes Two, I'm
was
pretty
it
sure.
2021?
I think so. I'm pretty sure that's when
Because
it
it
won
was
Game of
Rift
the Year.
Apart, and I think Rift Apart should have won Game of the Year. But the
Yeah.
point is that year was lacking a little bit. This game, I don't know if it'll stand up to just some of the juggernauts we're getting this year when it comes to Game of the Year
Yeah,
discussions. I am curious to
Yeah.
see if this will land in my top five. I think top three might be hard. This year's just it's
This
truly
year's stacked.
crazy.
it is.
And I feel like we say that every year, and then we get to the next year
No,
and we
but
realize, oh, you know
every other
what?
time
Actually,
we are
last year
wrong.
wasn't.
This
This is
time.
the time. This is the time. So it's awesome. You got
Because
to
this
play
is
it.
the year Silk Song comes out.
If it does,
Gosh, you
dude.
just ruined it. You just ruined it.
Yeah. Which is good because I counterpicked it, so my fantasy league is even worse if it
What's
comes out.
wrong with you?
It's been a good counter pick for 5 years in a row. So
it was like an impulse thing where I'm like, should I just gamble that it's not coming out? And then I was like, and then they showed it in the Switch 2 reveal. I was like, well, dang it.
what's funny is that for Hollow Knight, both of us while drafting are like, should I draft Hollow Knight? It's got to be this year.
I almost
And
drafted
then
it, and then I
and then
counterpicked
whoever
it.
drafts it, the next person is like, should I
I'm going to
counter pick
counterpick
Hollow
this.
Knight?
Yeah.
It hasn't
It's
come
because
out every other year we've said that.
it's such a coin toss that it's like, this is either a great pickup or a great counter pick.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyway, yeah, I'm curious to see where this falls because like we had, if Silk Song comes out, we have Donkey Kong, Metroid, We've got Kingdom Come, Blueprints, Expedition 33. I'm
Yote.
probably missing a Yote.
Death Stranding 2.
Death Stranding 2.
GTA 6
If
potentially,
GTA
probably
comes
not. I
out,
Hades
counterpicked it.
2.
That's not coming out.
oh,
Hades
I don't
2.
know. Hades
Silk
2. Oh
Song.
gosh.
Man.
So many games. It's going to be a really tough year to pick. And I think the tough thing is lacking, not that it relies on the novelty to be an amazing game, but lacking a little bit of that novelty to
That
punch it up.
zeitgeist, that like,
It's going to be
yeah.
hard
Yeah.
to compete, but it looks amazing. I know I'm going to love it. Like I loved It Takes Two.
Yeah.
And I love the premise of this one with the sci-fi and the fantasy. And so I'm positive I'm going to really enjoy it.
And there's some
my
really
wife and I
cool
get on it.
sci-fi and fantasy stuff
Yeah,
in here. Some of
there
it's
is.
rote, what you'd expect. You're going to get a little dragon section and blah blah blah. But like,
Right, of course.
Again, just fun, unique, quirky mechanics. And I think I'm excited to play through it again as the different character. But at no point are you ever looking at the other character going, "Oh man, I wish I was playing that character," because they're always both good. Like,
Yeah.
9 out of 10 times. So
something I did want to mention before we move on. One of the specific critiques I had in mind, a small one, was just we talked about the end, without getting into specifics, kind of what they start doing at the final
ending?
stretch of the
Spoilers.
game. I kind of wish that there was more of that in the game. It felt like that was super cool and innovative at the end of the game, and then it just felt like it was a little brief. So that
it was definitely the culmination, and
Yeah.
it would have been cool if they could have
if we had like a chapter of it, or
used it a
something.
little bit more. Yeah.
Yeah.
The other thing that we talked about while playing it is that there's some elements of this that are so good that you can see the other screen, and it's all just happening in real time and it runs. But there's also some, like, they could really cook with this if they took that away and you played this game together the exact same way, but you had a full screen and you couldn't see the other person's screen.
Yeah.
Because they do some
Yeah.
really interesting stuff at the end where maybe you're not seeing the same things or whatever. And I just feel like you could do some really cool, like,
Yeah.
games need to explore that co-op function where it's like, maybe it's platforming or puzzling or whatever, and you have to help each other, but you have to communicate better because you can't see what the other person sees or
Yeah.
whatever. And
So
so just kind of that, like, I wonder, I'm not saying the game would be better if it were that way, because there's some elements of seeing the other screen that make this game really good, but just an interesting thought. Like,
I definitely
would like to
think-
see what they did if you couldn't see the other screen and kind of play with that a little bit more.
I definitely think that there were some very specific moments that were significantly lessened by being able to see the other person's screen so easily.
Yeah.
And it would have been like a little bit like, oh, this is amazing if you only had your own
Yeah.
screen. And I do wonder, for Split Fiction
Or
specifically,
that moment when you played through the second time and played the other character and you're like,
Yeah.
what? This is what
Yeah.
this?
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah.
I do wonder if for Split Fiction specifically, if like the majority of the game could be normal as it is with the split screens,
And then just have
and then
sections where you
and
do
then
that.
it just like it's scripted, switches to full screen. You're like, oh, what's going on? And then it just is that way for a little bit. I don't
That's
know.
true.
So, but I
That's
do
true.
think there were parts that would have definitely been better if that were the case.
Well,
Take
from there,
note, Joseph
real quick.
Ferris.
Yeah,
Take
Joseph,
note.
come on, dude. Learn how to make a game. From there, real quick, I actually want to transition. This will work perfectly into Bokura. Calvin and I played Bokura in March, and this is the first game. There is a sequel coming out called Bokura Planet. I think it just came out, actually. It came out, or it comes
Did it
out
come
in the
out
next
full?
day or two. I think so. It comes
Cool.
out it came out in the last few days or the next few days.
Looking forward to that.
So anyways, we jumped into the original. It's called Bokura, Bokura. Bokura. And it is a co-op game, but it is very much leaning into the you can't see your other character, the other player's screen, much like what we were talking about.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a good transition here, because this game is really playing up the whole, like, you guys are working together. You can see both characters on the screen, but maybe what you're both seeing is not necessarily the same, and you have to really communicate to get through these levels and these puzzles. It's a simple art style, kind of pixely 2D side-scrolling puzzle game, but really, really finds its footing in that, like, having to communicate. You can't see what the other person sees, solve these puzzles, and it was really cool. I think the novelty The novelty maybe wore off at some point, but it also doesn't necessarily outstay its welcome. I don't think
It's
you
not a
can
very
weigh in
long
on
game.
that. It's not a very long game, but I thought it was really, to me, it was a really fun time. It was unique. It
I
stands out to me. I enjoyed like just I came down to visit you. We hung out with our Steam decks and we played a bit of this game. The novelty was there, and it also kind of felt like a bit of a proof of concept of like kind of this is what we want to do, but I want to see what they can continue to do with
yeah
that, with Boku Planet and maybe beyond, because
yeah
again, no one is doing this type of thing, and it's so good. Like just that
yeah
intrigue of solving puzzles with someone when you have to communicate and you can't see what they see and they can't see what you see. It's just a really good concept.
yeah. Just to quickly touch on your the outstaying its welcome, I don't think it did. I think the novelty for me in the length of the game never wore off. Um, it was just that certain puzzles were less enjoyable than others. But
That's a good point.
the novelty was there the whole time, I think.
I wouldn't even necessarily say that's kind of true. I wouldn't even necessarily say some puzzles were less enjoyable. I would say though that unlike Split Fiction, some puzzles were more interesting for one person than the other.
Hmm.
And
Yeah,
that's a tough balance to strike. But there were a couple puzzles where I'm helping and I'm communicating, but gameplay wise, I'm not doing much. You're kind of doing the stuff or whatever. But really cool game. Pick it up on Steam. It's on
very
Steam
cool.
Deck. I don't know where else it is. I think it might be on PlayStation and other platforms, but it's a small indie, cheap little game. Grab it on sale or whatever. And if you've got someone to play it with, it's a good puzzle game, and it kind of also has some narrative intrigue and elements
Um,
throughout that.
that's
Couple
what I was going to
hours,
touch
it'll be
on.
fun. Yeah,
Um, it's also cool because um, the difference in what you're seeing and what's happening goes with the gameplay, but they also wave that into the story a little bit. There's moments where your characters are like split up and you go a different way for a minute,
yeah.
and
You both kind
you
of get two
both
different like
yeah. I have a
story
conversation
beats.
with this one person, you have a conversation with someone somewhere else, and we're getting different sides of a different story, and then we meet up and suddenly we're
Something
prompted
happens,
to
and we
make a
have to make a
decision,
decision.
and we both have different information, and we're like, what do we
Yeah,
do?
and I'm like, well, clearly this, and you're like, well, clearly that, and
Yeah.
it's like, all right, well, what do we
So
decide here?
it's really they do a good job of weaving that into the story and all that as well, the narrative.
Yeah, yeah, super cool. I
This
definitely want to
looks
shed a
cool.
light on this
Yeah.
game. More, I want to see more of this from indie teams, from different teams, just taking a stab at couch co-op is such a good like it's funny, it kind of became extinct when internet became influential in video games, and yet I think now we're at a time with the tech and the remote play and internet that we have where co-op can be better than it ever was,
Yeah.
with some really cool ideas, and I want to see more studios really lean into that because it's just cooperative experiences are so good when they're done well, and
Yeah.
Mhm.
And
March had two of them.
to quickly, so it's interesting. We actually played the Bakura Planet demo before we played
Yeah,
the first game,
and I'm
Bakura,
excited to check that
Bokura,
out. Yeah,
whatever.
Yeah. And
And
it,
having played the full first game now, I'm really excited. From what I remember of the demo, I'm really excited for Planet.
yeah.
I think it's going to be pretty
The
cool.
demo for Bokura Planet, from what we can tell, is introducing essentially the same type of thing, but introducing subterfuge between the two of you,
Yeah,
where
yeah,
both of you are maybe not necessarily trying to accomplish the same goals, or you have side goals that you're trying
that's
to
great.
accomplish
ulterior
without
motives,
alerting
like
ulterior motives, or
yeah,
like they're introducing subterfuge into the co-op. Like
yeah,
it's just so good, and
That's
I hope they
great.
can pull it off. So,
Yeah, it just
um,
came out yesterday.
cool.
yeah, so
We'll
we'll
have
have
twenty
to
to.
find a time for that.
Came out the same day as Expedition 33.
Yeah, poor Expedition 33.
Yeah.
Should have moved that
It's
date.
gonna suffer.
So, anyways, there's our co-op for March. They were both good. Some good times. Some real good co-op in
Definitely.
March. We had fun with them. Very different, but both doing different things very well, and both could probably learn from the other. So, not that
And
Yeah.
just
they're
overall, just excited that, like you said, the couch co-op, these type of games are kind of having a little bit of a comeback. It's because they're so good and
they are.
they haven't
Yeah,
existed in so long, and so it's good to be
Even
having
stuff like
some good
Baldur's
ones
Gate
made.
3, really leaning into co-op, and I haven't checked it out in that, but I'm sure doing a full playthrough with somebody in co-op is really cool.
That
Like,
I'm
just
sure that would be awesome.
more games need to do that, because
Yeah.
couch co-op is amazing. So,
Yeah.
um, what do you want to talk about, Zach? What'd you play?
Oh, Zach,
I
you're here.
yeah. Hey guys.
Also, there's Zach.
Must be nice to have played something in March.
Must be nice to have friends.
Must be nice to be brothers and have gone to each other's house last month. Yeah, no, March was busy. I didn't play a whole lot. I've been playing Pokemon Pocket a lot. I won't spend much time talking about that, but I got pretty into Pokemon Pocket. I think a new set came out in March, and
Yeah, the
I was
shiny set.
yeah. I think that, or did that come out in April? I'm not forgetting.
I thought no, it
Either
came
way,
out in March,
it might have.
late
Either way,
March, late March.
yeah. So played some Pokemon Pocket, and I was pretty into that for a minute, and now I'm kind of cooling on it. Like I got kind of tired of
You know what's
battling
funny
people, and
is exact same. Like, it's
yeah, they
definitely not.
introduced
It's not
ranked, and
just
I got bored
anecdotal, because well, what's funny is when they introduced ranked,
at
I played
first.
I think I played a
Yeah,
crap ton at the end of March. I was just like playing
yeah,
Pokemon Pocket. I was working my way up the ranks with the deck, trying to catch shinies that I will never catch. Apparently, I finally got a Charizard shiny, but no Charmeleon, no Charmander. Never gonna happen. Can't wonder pick them. Can't trade them. Hate all those systems. But
yeah.
I was playing a lot of ranked, and I was having fun. It was frustrating. And then I reached a point where I'm like, all right, this is not worth the time investment, because it's one step forward, 1.5 steps back. But yeah, I
That's
noticed in the
what I ran
past
into. Yeah.
couple days here in whatever month this is, I guess we can say it's April, because we're recording this at the
Yeah.
beginning of April, like we would. Um, I've definitely, like, for the first time in months, I've been like, oh shoot, I think I need to open both my packs. Like, I haven't opened it up.
Yeah, I've
Like,
had the same thing where I keep
that's been
forgetting to open
happening,
my
and I'm like,
packs.
oh,
Yeah.
look at me, not addicted to this stupid game
Yeah,
anymore.
not as addicted. Yeah, and so some of that I think is natural, but some of it too, like I don't know, ranked, it just takes so much time, and that's the thing is like I don't mind playing it here and there. I like it, but it takes so much time to just get any progress. So
What
it's
kind
like
of
I got
balls
other
did you get to?
stuff to do. Uh, I think I only made it to Great Ball, like halfway through Great Ball, and then I started getting burned out. And it's like I was
Oh yeah,
progressing. It just took forever, and I was like, it's just not worth it.
nah.
Like the rewards aren't that great. I
I
also,
know the rewards
it's
don't
like
scale up very well.
they
Like,
don't, and
come
it's
on,
like yeah,
man.
I'd like to get a couple of these other shinies, but I have most of the set at this point, so I don't know what the answer is for that. But yeah, I'm cooling on that. Um, and then there was only one other game that I played in March, and that was TCG Shop Simulator.
Oh, you are in deep right now,
I
dude.
was yeah. So
Physical,
I've
digital,
Oh
gotten back
man,
into collecting Pokemon cards in the past month,
metaphysical.
which is dangerous. Although it's really hard to find anything right
When
now.
you're like, I
So
can't find these. I got to go on I need
yeah,
a
so
simulator.
I started the my brother-in-law told me about it. He's been playing it, or he was playing it a while ago, and it's fun because like you open up your own card shop, and you have to like you man the register, you have to order inventory and like put on booster packs and boxes, but you can open your own product and like see what cards you get, and then you have a display case where you can sell
Getting high on your own
individual
supply.
single cards. And yeah, you got to kind of manage how much you start with, like $1,000, and so it's like you got to start making a profit so that you can buy more product.
Are
And
you actually playing this game, or are you just ripping packs open?
you have to play it, otherwise you'll quickly run out of money. So yeah,
Oh, okay, all
and
right.
the management was fun for a little while. I'm not a huge sim type player, but I had a little bit of fun. Like I love cards, and the idea of like running a card shop is briefly kind of fun. And there were some funny little details beyond like opening your own product and things like that. Um, there I'm at one point, like you can start to have events for people that come in, like you buy tables and chairs and they come in and play cards, and at one point someone comes in and there's like this yellow cloud. I'm like, what is that? And then I realized this person stinks. It's like
Stinks.
when they walk, the little cloud follows them around the store. And if you've ever spent any time in like a card shop, like a, Magic the Gathering, Pokemon tournament type setting, the BO thing is real and way more common than you might think. And so like that little attention to detail was gross, but it felt accurate.
Appreciated.
It was appreciated. So anyway, it was fun. I probably put 5, maybe 6 hours into it total over the course of like a week or two. And it was just kind of like a mindless game where you run your little shop, you ring people up at the register, you give them their change, you order packages, you order new furniture, cases for your shop, you open packs, see if you get any good singles, you can sell them. And it was a decent loop,
Then
but
you do
it's
your
also something.
taxes and make sure you keep track of your write-offs and
Right, exactly. And then you and your wife split up and you have to figure out, how do we separate our assets, and like it gets messy. But um no, it was fun, but after like 5 or 6 hours, I was like, that's kind of. I think I popped in once, like a week or two after I kind of got out of it. And I was like, I think I'm done with it.
that's so funny.
Um, and yeah, it was kind
I
of a
would
nice
not have guessed
diversion.
that was your game for March that you were gonna bring
Game of
up.
the month. It's my game of the
You got
month.
you got a problem, man. You know
Did
what
you?
they need? You know what you should make? We need a a card purchasing simulator where you just go into stores and see if they have supply, and if they do, you buy it.
Yeah, but it's
Since
smart. Yeah,
you can't in real life.
yeah, exactly. But then there'll be somehow digital scalpers, and like it'll just replicate somehow. Um,
Card shop scalper simulator.
yeah, yeah. Um, so anyway, it was fun. It was kind of a quirky little game, and like it was a unique simulator because it's such a niche thing. But because of that, it kind of made it interesting. And again, I like card shops, or like I've had the
It's a
fantasy of,
good
what if I
five
just
hours.
opened a shop, and it's like I don't actually want to, but putting 5 6 hours kind of playing around with it was fun. And I think I paid $8 or $9 for it. I think I got it. It's early access, and I somehow got it on sale. I don't know. It was fun. If any of that sounds like, if you love cards or things like that, it's probably worth checking out. If you're not into cards at all, it's not
It's
worth
funny
checking
how
out.
much that genre has kind of taken off. Like there's so many simulator games, and I'm just like, I don't know that that appeals to me, but all
It
right, sure.
usually doesn't, but this one called out to me, and I enjoyed
I
it.
mean,
I
I
had
thought
fun with it.
about it. I heard about this one, and I'm like, hey, I can open packs of cards.
You can, yeah,
Hmm.
you can.
I mean, honestly, I just need a card pack opening simulator. I don't need the shop. I just want to open packs.
Yeah, you could just keep
You're
starting new
just
games.
straight dose
And
of
just start a new
dopamine.
game, spend $1,000 on packs, open every one, delete,
Start a
start a
new
new game.
game. Yeah.
Um,
Well,
the cards, I will
okay,
say,
interesting.
the creatures were not nearly as
Oh
cool as
yeah, that's my
Pokemon.
question. They're all original creatures then? Like,
Yeah, as far as I can
Wow,
tell, I
that's pretty
they're
impressive.
does it seem like an extensive amount of creatures?
for the amount I played, I kept seeing new ones, and that was pretty interesting. None of them were super like nope or memorable, or it was more like they were serviceable for what the game was, more than really being fascinating as creatures themselves. And I that's a
Gotcha.
critique I have, is like, this would be cool if,
So
like,
they weren't even made by AI.
I don't know, maybe they could have
I'm just
been.
saying they would have been better.
I don't know. Maybe. I can't tell. I don't know what's AI. AI has gotten to the point where
Is
I don't know
AI
what's real
bad? Is it
anymore.
better than us? What is it?
Yeah, I couldn't tell you that. All I know is I was not drawn to the cards enough to like the
Oh,
ripping the packs.
that's a problem.
That's actually probably the biggest problem with it, is like I wish the creatures and the cards were more interesting.
They're like my eyes are up here. This is a card shop simulator.
Right. That's, you can tell the focus is on the shop part, which made it interesting in some ways, but also made me get over it
Well,
faster.
Yeah.
at least it didn't like almost lead you into a crippling addiction of trying to find these cards for real.
Yeah, that would be bad if
Right.
that
Yeah.
happens.
Oh
So
man.
anyway,
Well, I guess
that's
from
it.
there, I'm curious, because I feel like you played this game and you were kind of secretive about it, but you can't be secretive when we have a Steam library that we are all family to. So, did you play in its entirety? Thank goodness you're here.
Oh, I haven't played any of it yet.
Oh, I thought that's what you were alluding to in March. It was Card Shop Simulator.
No, I did buy that like in the past month or two, because I've heard really good things, and it was on sale for pretty cheap. So I picked it up, and I did download it
Interesting.
on. Maybe it was like I had downloaded it and it said I was on it or something, but no, I haven't even turned it on. So I don't know yet.
Man, my
I
sleuthing was incorrect. Well, I just my
maybe
two
I was,
cents on
yeah.
it. I really do like British humor. I like, I'm big on, can quote most of Monty Python and the Holy Grail, and um, oh, what's one of my favorite movies from years and years ago that now I can't think of the name? Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. Like, I do like the dry, bizarre British humor, and I thought, oh man, I'm gonna really like this game. It's getting all kinds of rave reviews. Games can't do comedy, but this game does it. And so I grabbed Emily and I was like, I got a game we can play. We can sit down and this should be an interesting, bizarre, fun time. and we played like an hour and a half, 2 hours of it, and I just put it down. It wasn't working for me.
Was it boring, or just like
It
was
was
it the
boring.
gameplay or
It
the
was
humor or
boring
both?
and not that funny. There were like 1 or 2 moments that were kind of funny, and the most funny moment to me happened in the first like 2 minutes. And then yeah, I was just bored. So
That's a shame.
this is one man's opinion. It's got really good reviews. It's not terribly expensive. If you like British humor and simple games, check it out. But I was pretty bummed. I came away. I don't think it's a long game. I don't know how far I was from the end, but I was just like, this is not
You just felt
fun.
no
It's not
desire to
fun.
continue.
Yeah, I was like, all right, I
That's not a
guess
good sign.
we're done with that. That was weird. I mean, there's some truly weird stuff in this game that's like kind of funny, but like,
Well,
Yeah,
as you
well,
know,
I'll
once you
the whole
start,
premise-
yeah.
once you start a game, you have to finish it.
right? No, I've tried my darndest to do less of that actually, because I that is a thing where I've finished many a game that
Kind of a bad mentality.
I should get that time back, and
Yeah.
you don't get it back. So the whole premise of this game, for those who don't know, is it's kind of like a top down it kind of reminds me in presentation of the Untitled Goose Game. It's kind of top down, very simple art style, and not many mechanics. In fact, less than the Untitled Goose Game. You literally run around and slap things. You can slap people and slap items, and you cause mischief and you solve quests, kind of. And then people have dialogue. You'll slap them and they'll say something, and there's jokes that kind of go on through the whole thing. And that's the premise: is you're just this little tiny dude slapping everybody, and it's got slapstick humor to it. But yeah, it just didn't have enough, and I just really was, after an hour and a half, I looked over at her and I'm like, are we done with this? Like, are we having fun? And we were done. So,
Which it feels like, I mean, because we played Untitled Goose Game a little while back, and from what I remember, I had a lot of fun with it, but it was kind of similar. Like, after about an hour or two, it was kind of like, I was like, all right, like, I think I've experienced this game, and I don't need to finish it.
Maybe not our genre, not my genre. So
Yeah. Well, that's
a bummer. I was really
I've
wanting to hear
things.
your thoughts.
Yeah.
I thought that you had played it, so I
No,
was
I
just
haven't
so
played it yet.
curious if you loved it or not.
I almost picked it up, and like I was thinking of maybe starting that soon, and just haven't gotten around to it. But
I mean, hey, it's a short game. I mean, boot it up for an hour and see where you're at.
It might be even
Maybe
shorter
it
if I
clicks for
hate
you.
it. So
Yeah, but I'm just saying, like,
yeah.
Give it 30 minutes, a half or an hour, and then because I'm
right.
curious, like, I don't want my opinion to be the end all be all, but
No, I'll still try. I mean, I paid for it, so I'm still going to try it. But that is a bummer, because I do trust your opinion, and we'll see.
But humor is terribly subjective too. So I usually click with British humor, and it just wasn't doing anything special for me. So, okay, Calvin, what do you have more things, or both of your things the stuff?
I have one more, but I can be fairly quick on it.
Yeah, tell us a little bit about Dead Space.
No, so Dead Space I'm going to save for the next video, because I only played like maybe like 3 or 4 hours in March.
You know what they say about assuming. Well, then what's your other one?
So yeah, Dead Space was mostly April. March I replayed Uncharted 4.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I think we both played it back when it first came out in 2016, which, first of all, it's just crazy that it's almost 10 years since that game came out. And yes, I think it holds up quite well. There are definitely a few aspects in areas where you can kind of tell, like, okay, this is not an actually new or modern game. You can see through a little bit, but as I was playing it, the majority of the time, I was thinking, if a brand new game came out looking like this, I would be ecstatic, because it looks really good. It runs great, and it's just sad how far the low is.
Yeah, it's kind of wild
how low the bar is now
in the last decade.
Yeah. But anyways, I just kind of got for some reason, something I saw on YouTube, whatever. I ended up on an Uncharted kick, and then I really got the itch to replay Uncharted 4, partially because I realized I had forgotten quite a bit of that game.
I don't know how much I remember of it at
all.
I remember
I replayed it
sequence.
Yeah, That's a good one. But I replayed it, and after sitting on it now for a little while, I think I have to work it in somewhere, but I think it's a top 10 all time.
You got to
game
make
for
more
me.
numbers out of the top 10 than 10.
Yeah, it's gonna kick something out.
Got to
because
spread open
1.
the top
5.
10 and see if you can get 15 in there.
I've told Levi, well, first of all, when I first played this, 10 years ago, it was well before I played games with through the lens that I do now. Of I still just enjoy games, but I also like to critique. I like to break them down,
You were
understand
young
why
and naive then.
I like to understand why I like, dislike things, whatever. And so playing it around this time was different, and I really do think all of the things that we praise and love about the new God of War games, 2018 Ragnarok, the story, the relationship dynamics, the spectacle, and the just epicness of it, set pieces, all of that God of War does so good. I think Uncharted 4 is right there in the same tier.
Yeah. I mean, God of War is kind of just like closer camera Uncharted a lot of the time, to be honest.
Yeah.
With
And
melee
as
combat
as a demigod.
Yeah.
There's only
And
7 differences.
And so one of the biggest difference
with
to
a
me
kid.
is the combat and the gameplay.
Yeah.
But
Sam's kind of a kid.
Yeah, it has these spectacle and story moments and just set pieces that are
Sam's the brother. Who's
yeah,
who's the
Nate?
older dude?
Sully.
No, Sully.
Sully.
Yeah.
That's who I meant.
Yeah, Sully. But yeah, they have these moments that really outmatch pretty much things from any other game I can think of. So it has maybe my favorite fictional location I've ever experienced in a video game. It's just, and it's all focused on pirates, which that's one of my favorite
You can't
things.
go
So
wrong.
it's so
Yeah.
good. It's so
You're
good.
making me want to replay.
I know. I really do. It's one of those games that it's certainly been long enough. I've forgotten 80% at
Same.
least of that game.
Yeah.
I'm both excited and a little disillusioned with the industry to hear that it's held up as well as it has. But it's one of those where I'm like, I really do. At some point, it's on a short list of 10 to 15 games that like I do need to replay. There's not many games I need to replay anymore. There's just too many games. And that's one where I'm like, I at some point someday need to replay. I'm sure you know what it'll be. They'll do a remaster or something of Uncharted 4 with Legacy bundled in, and then I will replay the game. And
but I found it very very worth it. It's just, to me, it is one of the greatest video game stories, in my opinion. I know people tend to also say similar things about the Last of Us games, but I haven't played those. But Uncharted 4 has such an amazing story, and the relationships and the moments between the characters are so real and so good, and it's good stuff.
Cool.
Yeah.
So
it's not Naughty Dog firing on all cylinders for sure.
Yeah. And the only other thing of note, since I knew I decided I was going to replay it anyways, I took a look at the platinum because I didn't have the platinum, and I went for that, which the hardest thing on that was playing through the entire game on crushing, the hardest difficulty. Oh my goodness.
Sounds terrible.
It
sounds rough.
It was actually, I actually really enjoyed most of it, but there was like a handful of scenarios of fights that were just miserable. Like
platinum.
So some of the hardest
most of it. It's just the last 10% that made
some of the hardest stuff I've done in a video game,
Come on,
which that's a hard thing to top at this point. So
yeah, it's crazy to think that we're probably going to go the entire PS5 generation without a Naughty Dog game. Like, tell me something is wrong with the industry without telling me something's wrong. Like,
yeah.
Hey, that is not true. We have gotten multiple remasters of the last.
We've gotten like 5 games from them if you count re-releases, bundles, and remasters. So
yeah, if you count that, we've had a game every year.
Yeah,
Oh
You know how many
boy.
times I bought The Last of Us? 6.
6
Checkmate.
times.
Check
Did
and
you
mate.
play it
Checkmate.
each time?
I haven't bought any of them. It's
Haven't
a
played it
rip
any
off.
of the times.
Although
All right, I've
yeah,
got you guys are done. Is that where we're at?
I'm
yeah.
all
That's all.
out.
I'm out too.
All right, I got two more, and I'll be quick though. I played Void Rot. It's one of my just kind of indie discount games that I picked up on Steam for Steam Deck, and it is a Metroidvania, but I would go so far as to say we're getting more Hollow Knight likes that are just very specifically channeling Hollow Knight, whether
Hmm.
it's art style, gameplay, the whole shebang. And this one does it pretty dang well, actually. Like, this is not a game that's gonna knock your socks off if you've played Hollow Knight or you've played some of the greats, but this is a really really solid 8 to even 9 out of 10. I think the only thing it suffers from is maybe just we have so many Metroidvanias at this point, and we have played Hollow Knight, so
Just
maybe it has a bit
saturation.
of
Yeah.
forgettability from that standpoint. But like, if you took this game in a vacuum, I feel like it could be near a 9 out of 10. Like, its art style is really good. It really nails that Hollow Knight
What's it called?
art style. Void Rot, WROUGHT,
Ah,
all one word. So it also kind of has an alien Egyptian theming to it, which is really cool.
That is cool.
The combat is, I would say, the combat is more serviceable. It's not the best part, but there's good exploration, good upgrades. You have like a hub area that you continually upgrade throughout the playthrough, and you get more people there, and it's more bustling, and you actually excavate parts of it and like open up new utility and things like that. And it's just a good Metroidvania. I had a blast playing it. Again, it's not maybe not one that will stick in my memory as much, but like if you just love Metroidvanias and you want something like Hollow Knight, this really does kind of hit the mark, and kind of hits the quality bar. We're getting a few more coming out pretty soon that are, I would describe them as Hollow Knight likes, but this one, 8 to 9 out of 10. Like,
Hey,
worth
when Silk
worth
Song is
playing.
delayed inevitably and pushed out of this
Yeah,
year, I'm gonna go pick up Void Rot,
Void Rot. There
and
you
I can't
go.
wait.
So, trying to think of anything else to call out specifically. But yeah, I had a fun time
Looks
with it.
cool.
Great Steam Deck game. Looks great on the Steam Deck OLED.
You know, I love a good Metroidvania, kind of in the same vein as Hollow Knight. So this is cool to have in my back pocket. Who knows when I'll get to it, but I
Yeah,
every once in a while I'm just really feeling a good Metroidvania, and so it's nice to have some of these. It's like, oh, cool, that's one that I can kind of keep on the radar for when I'm really in the
yeah,
mood
it's
for
a
one.
perfect
feeling
game
that itch.
for.
Yeah,
It's a perfect game for the Metroidvania Steam Deck itch, where you're just like,
totally.
I want something I can kind of roll around the house and play and
Yeah,
play in
Roll
bed or
around the
whatever. So,
house.
rolling around
you know, in the laundry room, upside down,
down the
wherever I am,
stairs.
Just like rolling around
sliding down the stairs
in your office chair in
backwards.
different rooms.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Um, so that's Void Rot. And then the other one that we can all talk a little bit about, because I know you guys have at least touched it, is Pepper Grinder.
Oh yeah, I finished it, but I was gonna save it for April
Oh,
because.
yeah. I
But
mean, I don't
I can
know.
just talk about it now.
Yeah, let's just talk about it now
The
since I brought it up.
illusion has
Otherwise,
been
this is going to be
broken.
awkward, Zach.
We're recording this now in April.
It's
Also, yeah, it makes more sense
2026.
to just have the conversation and then, um, I have other games I played this month in
Yeah,
April.
yeah,
So
yeah, for
let's, yeah,
sure. So,
Pepper
so
Grinder.
Pepper Grinder came out a year or two ago. What,
Yeah,
Kel?
no, I was just say that you guys will carry this one mostly. I can just chime in because
You played a level or two, right?
I've played through the first level, but like the full through the first boss. But that's as far as I got.
Okay, so you did play the first? You played a boss though.
Yes.
Okay, cool. I mean, that's enough to talk about it for sure.
Yeah.
There's not a ton to talk about. I will just say that this is a game for me that is on. It's on my like. I kind of have a new top 10 list growing that is really small, concise, like focused experiences, and
The limbo list.
the Limbo list, kind of like Limbo, and then what's the other one that I love? I'll have to find it in somewhere in this Steam library and call it out in a minute because I don't remember the name. The platforming one. Do you remember the name of that, Kel?
Platforming one.
platformer.
Yeah,
Oh,
very
Lunistis.
Lunistis.
Lunistis is kind of at the top of that list of just like, this is a simple, you go into a level, you platform around, you collect some stuff. It's really tight, really fast platforming, and it does it extremely well. And you're done with the game in a couple hours and you wish there was more. Like, to me, that's kind of what the bucket that this game goes into for Pepper Grinder, because they took a platforming concept, they turned it on its head. You have this giant, like,
Drill bit.
um, drill bit, yeah, grinder that you're going around with, and you literally grind through stone and through levels and um, different materials that react differently. And they fully flesh out the mechanic. They do some really cool stuff with it. Um, they have some cool little like novelty sections, even where you're like piloting a mech. The boss fights, I felt, those at times could be a little finicky and kind of hard. Once you really do get a hang on the control and the like platforming of this game, it clicks and they work really well. They're fun boss
Mm-hmm.
fights,
They're
and
unique
it doesn't.
and they're
Yeah,
interesting, and you have to use the mechanics in interesting ways
you have
for
to.
the
I
different
Yeah,
mean,
they
weapons.
really play with the mechanics in this short game. They really play with it and move it around and get you to do stuff. And
it
it's
really
they
is
they
unique.
nail it, man.
What other game could you even compare? Where you're fighting a boss fight in this way. Like, there's nothing else to really compare it
Yeah,
to.
you can't. I mean, that's why it's a platformer, but like, you're not really
In a
platforming.
very different
It's
way.
in
Yeah.
in in theory you're platforming, but it's completely different. And I also love this game does my favorite thing with platformers, where it's the Crash Bandicoot thing, where you play a level and the first time you play through it is very methodical and slow and figuring things out, and you're kind of exploring and checking all the nooks and crannies, trying to make sure there's no secret walls or items, make sure you get everything 100% it that way. And then once you beat a level, it says, okay, now here are the time trials. And so
Mm-hmm.
then you do a completely different playthrough of each level, where you are just booking it through this level, trying to find all the little tech to like shortcut this and shortcut that and try and do this quicker and get these gold times. And I love when a platformer does that, because it's like you get to play the game twice through two completely different lenses.
Mm-hmm.
And they crushed it. It's a small game, and like I said, it would go on that short list I have right now of just like top tier small focused titles that just pick something, do it really well, and expand on one mechanic. And this just it really crushes, so to speak, that drill
Yeah.
platforming mechanic. So what do you think, Zach?
Hated it. Just kidding. um, I loved
Trash.
it. I got sucked into it, and I could not stop playing it until I beat it. It was so much fun. Every level I was fun. Every zone was unique and interesting, and there's like different uh, ways to utilize the core platforming or drilling, kind of in different unique ways depending on the zone you were in. And I think we talked about the boss fights were all interesting and unique and challenging. The collectathon element always gets me.
Yeah.
It felt a little bit like a Mario game, and like a 2D Mario, in the sense that you have an overworld map. Then you drop in, you do your level,
Yeah,
you
or
do your
like
time trial,
like the Donkey Kong
classic
Yeah.
country,
DK.
Was a
And I
very
love,
Nintendo overworld.
yeah, and I love that type of
which I love
overworld.
that. I love seeing your little overworld map and then
Mhm.
going into a level. Oh,
And like, or
never gets
unlocking a
old.
shop, and so you go to the shop and you can buy little things there. Um, and then you can like unlock secret zones by like buying a key with coins you save up from getting your coins through levels. All of that was great. The art style was great. The music was fun. I have no critiques of this game. I think it's
That's a
pretty
good way
much
to put it. Yeah.
perfect for what it is. This isn't a critique. The only thing is it ended and I just wanted a little bit more. And
Yeah,
that's a great
totally.
place to be left off. I could see this. I think it had 5 zones, if I remember correctly. And I was like,
Six would have been perfect.
six to eight even. It's like a couple
Yeah.
more zones would have been really fun. Just because I don't want to give it up and I want a little bit more. But
Yeah.
it's also 5 zones is enough to feel like you got an experience. It's a small
Yeah.
one, but it's enough. It was, it took me a 5 hours or so, or 5, 6 hours maybe, to like do the core levels. And
Yep.
I loved it. I had, I
It's so
walked
good. I
away.
remember seeing it.
Yeah,
I remember seeing it a couple years ago when it was at some indie showcase,
me too. And I was like, that looks cool.
and I was like, oh, it looks kind of cool. And then it kind of flew by, and I just was like, it's whatever. And yeah, coming back to it after all these years, I was like, whoa, they
It was
have
so
something
fun.
here.
They do.
And now that we're years removed from its release, it's so cool that we're in a time where one person can make a game and all these people are making. We got so much variety and people can take risks and try new things. But it also leaves me a little bit sad when a game like this comes out, does what it does so perfectly, and it's just like, man, what are the odds we ever get a sequel to this game?
I know
like,
that, because
what
that
are
was
the
my
odds
thing. Is
we
like,
ever get a Pepper Grinder 2? Like,
I would
probably
love a
not good.
pepper. I would absolutely love a Pepper Grinder 2, because this game was so perfect.
Yeah.
And it's such a nice palate cleanser between larger games or the other types of things we play, that like, it was refreshing, and it's very distinct. Like, this game is so memorable for
Great
all of
art
the reasons we
style,
talked about.
very
Like,
clean looking, pixely, but like very modern and clean looking.
yeah, and this is the game that I think 5-10 years from now I'll be like, oh yeah, Pepper Grinder, that was fun. I remember that fairly well. Versus some games over time they get blurry and you're like, what was that
Right.
thing again?
Even comparing it to Void Rot, I really enjoyed Void Rot. It's worth playing if that calls to you, but it will not stick in my mind the way Pepper Grinder did, because Pepper Grinder did something new. It really focused on this mechanic, and it just did it so well. I would love to get a sequel where it's like, hey, we doubled the length of Pepper Grinder 1.
Yep.
It's everything you loved about it. We threw in some more crazy stuff, because they even introduced, like, you can take your drill and there'll be a machine gun in this level.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden you attach your drill to a machine gun and you're running around doing like
shooting, like
not bullet hell, but just like shooting enemies and
kind
of
bullet hell-esque, like a mini game.
Just like, what is this game? Where are we going? Like, it's just fun.
You put your drill bit into the mech and it powers a big mech, and then all of a sudden you kind of have a different style of game within
or the snowmobile. There's a freaking snowmobile you're driving all of a sudden with your drill, and it's just like, it does it so good. And then there's mechanics where like, oh, you're in the Arctic and it's freezing and you got to go under the water, and so you're drilling through the snow. But if you go through the water, you slow down, but it also starts to freeze you, so you have to quickly get back into the snow. To stay warm enough.
Or when you're in the
drilling,
tropical region, there's like sharks or whatever, but if you drill at the surface of the water, it starts skipping you.
You can skip. There's probably crazy like cool speed running tech for this.
Yeah, I found that one, and that one's great for speed running. So
I know. Yeah,
I would love a Pepper Grinder 2 that's like 8 to 10 zones. A bit bigger, a little more. I would love if we got more of it. But it was great.
They crushed it. Shout out to Pepper Grinder 2. Please go buy Pepper Grinder 2. Yeah. Please go buy this game and play it, because we need another one.
There's no.
Yeah, it's just Pepper Grinder, right?
Not
please
yet.
Go buy. Yeah,
go buy Pepper Grinder to ensure.
This is 2027.
Right. This is April 2027.
Oh, we weren't dating this. Sorry, I forgot. We weren't trying to tell people how long we took to put this out.
Well, man,
I'm glad you got through it and you loved it as much, because
all I've experienced was the boring sand of level 1.
Yeah, you got to get back to it, Calvin.
If you can call it boring, it's still so fun, man. Yeah, it's worth playing. It's such a good Steam Deck game, and it doesn't take long, and it's just that perfect. Like Lunistus, you finish it and you're like, I just want more. That was so good. So shout out to Pepper Grinder 2. So look at that. We might actually close under an hour, guys. We're getting better.
They said it was impossible.
Yeah,
they said it couldn't be done with all three of us. That's for sure. So, any closing thoughts?
All it took was Zach having no games to talk about.
That's right.
All it took was Zach playing TCG Card Simulator.
That's all it took. Yeah.
And PPTCG. Those are his 2 games.
Those are my games.
Oh man, you might have a problem, but we all have problems. Card collecting is one of them. 99 and card collecting is one of them.
Yeah. That's up there.
All right. Well, we'll wrap it there. Thank you for joining us. It's been fun catching up. We will do this again for April as soon as we can. Calvin may or may not be around for that one. We probably should have just had you do your games for April in this one, but it's too late. You missed your chance. That's the end of the episode. We'll see you guys next time.